to our Connect event. Really excited to host you guys to talk about the future of e-commerce, the future of conversational conversations with customers, and we're going to talk about AI agent today. So I think just to kick us off, would love to see on the chat like who's here and where you're coming from. So please drop just a small message to share like where what's your brand. Would love to see who's out there. We on the Gorgias side we have Max, VP of Product on AI agents. We have Jordan Miller, who's a product marketer, and we have Matilda, who's been working on our shopping assistant product. So really excited to talk about like all the new stuff we have here today. All right, so we have Team Mescla. All right, plant protein bars. No chat just yet, so hopefully we'll convince you to, give me a spin. We have Billy from David Proteins as well. Lots of supplements. Okay, pretty cool to hear. I see you do have the chat and some flow set up. Pretty exciting. Thomas from card.com, Kara from Live It Up, Jack from Dolo Shave Club. Welcome, Jack. Amy with Down. All right, some folks from Germany. All right, really excited for this. All right, I'm just checking your websites as we go. It's always pretty cool to see like who's doing what in this space. Cool. All right. Well, welcome to this live event with us. Really excited to be talking about what we think is going to be the future of the space. Get some of your feedback on this, and show you like some of the latest things we've been up to. So let's get started. The purpose of today is to talk about how you can accelerate your AI transformation with AI agents. And I think over the last year we've been like tinkering with AI, like launching some AI agents ourselves. Like maybe you have like an AI search at the scope of your company. And I think in the last 12 months we went from playing with it to like full production setup. So we want to talk about the fact that things have been like changing radically in the space so far, and that they're going to be changing even more. So we hosted this event for the first time in 2024. We had an event called Gorgias Connect in LA that we hosted a few weeks ago, and now that we decided to have online today in particular. And what we felt like at the time is that AI was opening up a new chapter for CX, which means that we could go from like everything human-based, using macros and rules, to like instant responses to the most basic questions. At the time, we started with emails, and a lot has been done since then. I think like all customers were a little burnt by chatbots at the time, and now like AI is like a truly meaningfully better experience. Like you have like instant responses to the most common questions that you get from your customers. You also have like edits to orders, like product recommendation, all that stuff. So really excited to dive into that. So let's talk about the progress that we've done together as a group since last year. The first thing is that there are 7,000 brands on Gorgias that are using AI today. Which is like that number was like pretty close to zero a year ago. So it's been like a fantastic accomplishment for everyone here. So really excited about this. And I want to celebrate some of the wins we've had in terms of getting results. The first one is we've been having like a 40% automation rate for the top brands using AI, which is like absolutely fantastic. That means that not only you have a dollar savings, you can see like 130K on average per brand, 50% cost reduction for support. But I think that's only what we are seeing as like exciting results, but it goes much further than that, which means that the time that is saved by the team not answering like Wismo tickets or making edits to orders can now be used to driving revenue for the brands. And so that's like a conversation uplift that we've been seeing among the customers that are using AI. So what that means is that once you have a conversation, then you can 2x the likelihood of that conversation leading to a sell. So I think that's like completely changing the game from a CX perspective. It's not only about helping customers through their support requests. It's now about selling, about helping customers find the products that they want. And that already translates to like pretty meaningful numbers in terms of driving revenue. We're seeing like a 70K monthly revenue lift for brands that are using AI agents. So like already a new channel to drive revenue, and that converts to like an overall revenue uplift for the brand. And I think one of the things that has been like really exciting about this is that as we discussed that with some of our customers on Gorgias, like they now have a seat at the table to show that they are contributing to the growth of the business, which is really exciting. All right, I want to take a little bit of time to celebrate the fact that our community has been growing. So there's now like 16,000 brands using Gorgias, and there's more than 1,000 that joined in the last year. There's brands that are coming from many different industries: apparel, beauty, retail. Some of them are like pure DTC. I think one of the cool ones that joined was Fenty Beauty, which is like 600 million plus in revenue, so like huge, and that's like a Rihanna's brand, so like really excited about that. And what I want to do is to call out a couple of like the success stories that we've been seeing, because I see a lot of folks like tinkering with AI and like figuring out like if they should like go all in on this. So I want to share some of the results from the brands that like truly did go all in, and share a little bit about like what happened in terms of business metrics. So the first one that I like is Dr. Bronner's. Is like one of the top selling natural soap companies out there. They are like a 200 million plus in revenue. And so they completed a transition from Salesforce to Gorgias, and before they had like tons of manual processes. And I'm pretty happy to share like some of the like good results they had using AI agents. First one is that they're saving like almost 200K a year using AI agent automating tickets. And the cool thing is that it's not just savings; it's also customers appreciating the improvement to experience. So CSAT went from like 4 out of 5 to like 4.5 total, which is like very meaningful. That means that now like you're leading the game in terms of the quality of support that you provide to your customers. So really big win on this one. Another one that has been really exciting is Pepper. So I don't know if you guys know Pepper. It's an up-and-coming lingerie brand. I think they are based out of New York, and same like they reached like 50% volume automated, which is like really meaningful as well. But what's specifically interesting about Pepper is that they went beyond just the support side of the house to driving revenue. And so what we are noticing is that when they are having conversations with visitors on the website, there's an improvement to the average order value. There's an improvement to the conversion. So like really good results also on that side. Excuse me. All right. So on our side, like we've been pretty busy. Like we've built like tons of improvements to the product that we're going to talk about in just a second. But another thing we've been up to is to like as you launch AI agent, what you want to do is to have your AI agent connected to all the apps in your stack. And so what we've been working on is to make sure that Gorgias can connect to everything that's being used by your CX team, so that this information can be pulled both for like human agents and AI agents. So really excited about that, and I think that's going to like allow your team to be more efficient, and that's also going to your AI agent deployments to be more impactful for your customers. I want to talk about what's changing in the market. What we are seeing right now is that 60% of your own customers are using AI to shop, whether that's on ChatGPT, Google Shopping that just launched a new AI mode, Claude, like a bunch of tools that are out there. So like it's already a thing to leverage an AI conversational tool to be shopping. And I think that's like completely changing the game for us leading CX team because the customer expectations are radically changing. So what that means is that you can't really have rules that are like sending autoresponders to customers, or you can't really have like, hey, like we are available during business hours, but we'll get back to you like Monday. Like the expectations of customers is to get a response like right now that's like knows everything about their context and that is sharing like helpful information right away so that we can help them throughout the journey. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the learnings we've had, I would say, over the last couple of months, which is, I think the whole customer journey is changing. So let's first talk about what that customer journey is. There's a discovery phase where you like learn about the brand, usually on social media or like through friends or referrals. Then you purchase for the first time from that brand. And then finally, if you have a good experience, you might order again. And so what's changing here is that the discovery that used to be like very social media heavy is more like conversational AI focused. So that means that you can like find out about brands on ChatGPT. You can be like, hey, I'm looking for a gift for my nephew's birthday next week. He's like 3-year-old. I have no idea what I should buy for him. So like conversational AI tools are like great ways to like essentially find like product ideas that you can buy. And so that means that we are going from a search heavy world where it was like 10 blue links to like do your research on like what you want to offer your nephew to be more like hey, I'm going to talk to an AI that's going to make a bunch of recommendations here. So the discovery part is definitely changing. Then I think the purchase experience is also changing. We talked about this at the beginning. There's a bunch of brands out there. I think that was, which one was it? David Protein that has a chat on the website. And so I think the experience that customers want to have with that chat is changing. It's no longer like, hey, I'm just going to open up the chat if I have a question about my tracking information for my order. It's going to be more about like, hey, can you help me understand like what these proteins are about? This is what I'm trying to achieve. I have like sleeping issues lately, and I'm figuring out like if I should be like buying some supplements to like feel better. So like all these questions are going to come like more often to the chat, and that offers an opportunity for everyone in the space to like provide answers to these questions, and also to like convert these customers. And then finally, I think something super excited about is that it's not only at the purchase level, but it's also at the re-engagement level. So some of you on the chat here might have been having this experience where you subscribe to the newsletter, you drop your email, you get like the $10 off coupon, and it's a good start. But then like you get like this like daily email of like, hey, you could buy this or you could buy that, you could buy that. And that's like through email. That can also be the case through SMS. And at the end of the day, you may be like, hey, like that's starting to be overwhelming. It's not really tailored to my own needs. And so I think what's really cool is that commerce can also be conversational for the second order, which means like for like all these re-engagement touchpoints we have that can be mindful of the context that you've had in the past. So that's something that we're going to cover in just a second. I'm seeing a question from Antoine who's asking about, are you going to integrate with the Shopify storefront MCP? That's something that we've been exploring for the purchase part. We'll cover that more in the Q&A. But definitely, that's definitely a principle that we want to like invest more on. I think on the Shopify MCP side, like they have some capabilities that are like helpful to like search products, but like as you'll see in just a second, like we go beyond just search. Like we want to do like full discovery of what the customer wants, so that we can recommend the right product and then re-engage them afterwards in the second order journey. So I think what's really cool in this change that our industry is going through is that we as CX leaders are like really well positioned to offer this AI first experience to our customers. So buckle up, let's talk about how we can accelerate our AI transformation as a group today. There are 3 points I want to hit. So I saw that some of you have chat already, which is great. I want to talk about the fact that the first step, if you want to jump on this AI agent journey, is that you want to launch the AI agent on your chat. And I think it's not very hard to get to some early results. So I want to walk you through what that looks like. So the first thing you want to do is to go to your Gorgias account and then head over to the AI agent section and then configure AI agent. Here, there will be a few steps that you want to go through. Like number one is to set up your tone of voice. one of our marquee customers is Tushi, who's been making like tons of butt jokes in like every customer touch points that they have. So like you want to make sure that AI agents like is like the true face of your brand. Then second is your CX team probably has a bunch of SOPs around like, here is how we deal with delayed orders or damaged packages, for example. And what we want to do is to capture that in the knowledge that you pass to your agent. And then finally, make sure that your hub center is up to date, because we're going to be using that as a source of truth. Then once you have that, another thing you can do to have your AI agent be way more powerful is to connect it with the rest of your stack. So obviously there's tons of actions that are available out there in Shopify, such as like making a edit to shipping addresses. Like this one's a really cool one, because like at times you might realize that your package is not going to get where you want on time, and you can just be like, okay, like I'm going to be spending the weekend with at that birthday party somewhere else, so I want to like tweak the shipping address, and you want your agent to be like able to make edits to orders this way. So it's really like this two-step process of like giving the knowledge to your AI agent and then connecting it to the stack so that you can take the right actions. That's step one. Then you want to be getting into step two, which is training AI to become your best agent. And I want to insist on this second step, because a lot of people think it's like, hey, I'm going to launch AI on my website. It's going to be like said and done, and then forget it. But it's not a binary change, and more of a journey that you embark on. And so that second step is like very important, because you want to be like training your new agents that's joined your team every single day, and like giving it feedback so that the experience that you give to your customers improves every day. So this is what it looks like. I've been doing this a lot with a merchant I CSM myself, which is Glamnetic. It's a Lash clip-on brand out of LA. And so what we do together is that every week we look at tickets. We figure out like, hey, how did AI agent perform? Why did it respond a certain way? And then you'll find opportunities to improve of like, hey, in that ticket, it shared the tracking link. But actually what I would have wanted is that, given the package is already late, I would have wanted to like give a $10 gift card to the customer. So I'm going to create an action that creates that ability, for example. And so the whole point is that you want to get into a cadence where you go from like QAing the work of your tier one agents to not only doing that, but also QAing the work of your AI, so that it does a good job every day and then gets even better as you coach it. All right, so those are the first two steps. We have a third step, which we think is really exciting, and that comes back to what I was showing at the beginning, which is we're going from a world where CX was about helping with anything post-sale to be driving revenue. And so with that, I'm going to invite over Max to the stage to talk about how we can be driving sales for our customers to an agent.
Hello everyone, super excited to be meeting with you all today and excited to share more about like we're currently building. So let me share my screen real quick. All right, so let's get started. So before we jump into the new features that we will be like unveiling, let's just like zoom out for a moment. And I want to ask ourselves the question, like, what are the current strategies that we currently like rely on to drive like more sales, and where we feel that shopper like feel like more understood. And so if you think about it, today, like most e-commerce strategies rely on like the broadcast mindset. So basically, like we are pushing ads, we are pushing emails, we are blasting pop-ups, hoping that somewhere, somehow, like the message will click. But the reality is a bit different. So we don't know exactly what the shopper needs. And so we just like carpet bomb them with like offers, recommendation, discount to just maximize the chance to like take an action. But the result for the shoppers is a bit different. So what they feel is marketing fatigue. Shoppers feel overwhelmed by all the noise, by all like the campaigns, and so they stop paying attention. Engagement drops, conversion rates kind of stagnate, and every message feels a little bit less effective than the last. So we are kind of like burning attention instead of like building relation. And at Gorgias, we got this core DNA about the conversation, and this is what we want to bring to the commerce today. And so if we want to win the future of e-commerce, it won't be by shooting like louder. It will be like listening smarter, making real conversation, understanding like the shoppers in real time, what they need, and responding with like true relevance. And so this is the shift that here we are talking about. And so all those different solutions that we've been displaying are currently like a one-way street. So they are missing like a critical opportunity because they're static and they don't answer to like the specific like customer needs, any doubts, any curiosity in real time. And a lack of personalized assistance caused like buying journey frictions and like countless of like missed opportunities. So a lot of like e-commerce leaders are taught like pretty much every day are facing the same challenges to drive like up conversion rate, increase average order value, and making sure that the shopper's experience is amazing and feels smooth, personalized all the way along from start to finish. But even with strong intent signals, so we are still seeing like some drop off and still seeing that shoppers like hesitate before they complete the purchase. And so this is where we are introducing like shopping assistants. Think about it as like a premium concierge at scale for any D2C brands that knows everything about your brands, everything about the shopper. So this is not just like another like chat automation tool. It's only about like efficiency, creating like a new entirely new like revenue channel for your store. So the AI agent is trying to act like your best salesperson. So it reads customers' intent, it knows everything about the shoppers, where he's coming from, what is he doing, what he's been visiting. It asks a smart question to basically like making sure that we got like a smooth discovery process to uncover like any kind of like doubts, personalized offer in real time, and guide the shopper through like the purchase decision with like empathy, precision, expertise, and also like match exactly like the tone of your brands and act like any salesperson that you might be having on the website. So it's not a static pop-up, it's not a pre-programmed like email drip, it's just like dynamic, it's intelligent, it's a human level of conversation, scalable to like thousands of customers at once and instantly. So this is what we are building. This is the future of like what we believe is e-commerce today. And so what makes Gorgias like really different isn't just the AI, it's the deep of context. Gorgias has like 10 years of experience into the D2C context, working with D2C brands. And so we know like where the shopper is coming from. We've been building the system about like knows everything of the shoppers. So we know like the past, where they're coming from, the ads, the landing page, the campaign, the purchase history, the previous conversation, what they've been like browsing on the website, what they've been like searching, the time spent. So we've been building a system who knows everything of the shopper that can really provide a deep context and that can help us like fine tune and offer like the right product or the right answer to any doubt that the customer might have. So in real time, we got like all this context. And so because we have this rich e-commerce intelligence, we're not just guessing, we are orchestrating conversation that feels like more natural, more relevant, and just like really helpful for the shopper. So it's the human playbook on sales. You basically think about it as a sales playbook, like all those different stages, but like supercharged with AI. And so this is basically like the best of both worlds. We got like the instincts of a great salesperson, but at the speed, the scales, and the information that AI can leverage in real time. All right, let's talk about search. Search is one of the most important behavior in e-commerce today. Around like 15% of the shoppers will do some search at some point on the session, and like 50% of the user who purchased something on the website has been using search at some point on the website. And the problem is search is kind of like a cumbersome experience. It feels a bit generic because you type something, you have like dozens or hundreds of different products. You need to visit some of them, open new tabs maybe, and going back, use filters. So it's kind of like a cumbersome experience. And so what we are doing here is like a little bit different. So instead of like returning a static list of products, we are using AI to transform the search into a dynamic customer discovery. So I think ChatGPT is like paving the way. This is also like what Romain has been mentioning earlier. So AI can fix this discovery process. And so this is where we're using basically like AI with shopping assistants to basically like create like a smooth experience for the shoppers and like removing like all like the friction that search is currently like creating for shoppers. So it's about like turning search into a conversation and a conversation into revenue. And so there is more than that. One of the biggest silent killers for e-commerce is like user stagnation. So on the website, we don't really know what is going on for the shopper. Shoppers can start browsing, get lost, distracted, overwhelmed. And so basically like we lose like the attention of the shopper. This is exactly like what proactive assistance comes in. So with Gorgias AI agent, we can detect in real time like those kind of pattern. And we can trigger a message that will be unique for any shoppers based on like all this context that I was like mentioning earlier to really like offer like good icebreaker to engage the conversation with like a personalized messaging. So it's not like a campaign that is kind of like static, saying, hey, if my user like he's just like stagnant for 10 seconds, I'm going to send this message. It's really something that will be like custom and tailored for any shopper on the website. So nothing generic. And so the difference between like hoping that the shopper will convert and like actively helping them to convert, this is proactive assistance. I won't talk about like product recommendation, because product recommendation is definitely like the core of the technology we've been building. So custom recommendation engine designed specially for e-commerce that leverage like all this context that I was like explaining earlier about the shoppers and also about your brands. So where every brand is running differently. And so we want to make sure that basically this AI is personalized to like both the shoppers and the brand. So we don't just surface like random bestsellers or like some guesswork segmented data. This is like a statistical model that is really helping you to drive like GMV at scale. So we understand what's in the cart, what they've been browsing, what they've been like purchasing before, like how much time they spend on specific products. So all those data points are leveraged to offer like the most relevant product recommendation as well. So this deep context is just like offering like a relevant, timely, and helpful way to support the user. And we're also like giving like you brands like some control on the AI. So AI control over like a persuasion level, over discount strategy. So on one side, you can configure like a very like educational approach, where basically we want to make sure that we guide the user through like very like relevant like discovery questions to basically like help shoppers figure out exactly what they need. Or on the other side, you can go into like a very like promotional, which basically shorten the discovery and trying to push for sales like as early as possible. And so we see like the control for like assertiveness, and there is the same kind of like logic for discount. So in real time, we have this scoring about like the buying intents. So in real time, we have like an AI that basically like compute a score to evaluate if the user is like super motivated or not motivated at all to buy. And so instead of like sending some generic discount to users, we can send the discounts when it's relevant, saving on margin. And when the user feels that, when we feel that basically the user feels like distracted or not super motivated to buy, we can try to like nudge the discounts to increase our chance to basically convert the user. All right, so demo time. I want to show you like a quick demo about those few situations. So here is Attitude. So this is the website that is selling like betting sets. And so I'm going to just like start with a question directly from the page. And so let's ask like, what is the product made of? So we got the context of the product. And so the AI, like the product I'm on, also like all views, like all the historical. And so I got the answer. All right, so there is like clean bamboo. So let's probably like ask a follow-up question. So what's the difference between the clean bamboo and some organic cotton? Just asking some discovery question on the product. And let's see what it looks like. So the AI is like fetching like all the different sources of information to basically like look at the guidances, product information we might have scrapped from the website, or like the Shopify data to basically offer the most relevant answer as possible. All right, so clean bamboo is actually 100% sustainable sourced. All right, so this is pretty similar. This is like a own technology from Attitude, like a premium bedding set brand. And so how should I wash it? Yeah, all right. So let's see if we have the answer. And so we got like intermediate responses. Sometimes when we feel we need to look at like more resources, so the AI can offer like intermediate responses to fill the conversation with more material. So and wash by a cold, gentle cycle with like similar fabrics. All right, so that sounds cool. So this is just an example that was like teasing like how basically the AI is aware of the different contexts. Here I want to show you like Glamnetic, how like the search experience is working. So this is a typical search experience. So I'm typing like, all right, let's look for some red nail for some occasions. All right, here we go. And so this is the kind of experience I was like mentioning. So you got a list of products. It's kind of like unclear what I should be looking. And so we are trying to like solve this experience with like AI. And so here in a few seconds, AI will detect basically that I'm kind of like maybe lost in my journey and will trigger a message. And this message that you are seeing here, like looking for the perfect red nail set, it's a unique message just triggered for me, for my specific shopper journey. And that is as relevant as possible based on this context. And so, yeah. All right, so let's say that I'm looking at some short red nail, and I'm curious to see if I'm going to get any recommendation. So Glamnetic is definitely like one of our amazing tester on the product. We've been getting a lot of feedback from them. All right, let's see. So short red nail. So definitely looking for some recommendation following this search experience. And so I got a few product here that is suggested. So I got like the fairy red and the classic red. All right, so let's maybe ask like more questions. So are those nails like reusable? Let's see how AI can handle this question. All right, so they are both reusable. So asking like more discovery questions. And so as you can see here, like would you like to add them into the cart? So trying to basically like push to get the order completed. And so let's probably ask like a last question here. So about sizing and some specific questions about like the size of the nails for like small versus like larger bed nails. Yeah, at Gorgias, we become like experts with nails, but like this flagship customer, we've been using a lot of Analytics to test the products. All right, so we got the add to cart, and as you can see, like in one click, I can get it there. Last example, I want to show you like basically this specific example with Seeking Health. And so basically on this example, sorry, I just want to make sure that I'm in the right section. So this is the product question feature that I want to demonstrate on the left. So you are on the product page, and so basically you got like AI that is able to anticipate the questions that user might have. And so as you can see, I'm on the product page. This is Seeking Health. This is one of our customers as well that is trying the product. And so I got like those 3 different questions that might be triggered at some points when we feel the user is lost. And so this is similar to maybe some users that I've been seeing in the US. So Amazon Refuse, where basically like you can like have some dedicated questions for a specific product to like icebreak the conversation. And so this is this website is selling like supplements, food supplements. And so this is like a product supposed to help on like focusing. And so we have like those 3 different questions, and I can just like simply click to engage the conversation with one of those questions. So what does optimal focus support? That was one of the questions. And so when we click on it, we got the answer. It's leveraging my context plus obviously like the generic question that was asked by the AI. And I'm going to ask like one more question. So yes, we got this presentation about like shopping assistants, and I want to make sure this is relevant for me to just focus on this presentation. And I want to make sure that it's going to help me to focus on this. So again, the AI will look at like all the knowledge, all the guidances, all the information that has been scrapped from your help center, from your Shopify, to make sure that we are sharing the most relevant answers possible. And so let's see what the AI is going to tell us here. All right, so that's exactly what you're looking for. So it sounds like great news. So it's definitely like recommend this product. And so let's like a follow-up question. So does it contains, I'm going to make sure that basically like, is there any caffeine? Should I skip my morning coffee? Let's see what is the answer. And yeah, so it's actually caffeine free. So that is good to know. So here in those different demos, so that's the few examples about the search conversation, about like being like context aware, and using like the pre-question to drive more conversion, and yeah, ultimately like increase the GMV for brands. All right. So back to the presentation here. So this is like what we've been seeing in terms of performances. So on the average, so we are seeing like a 30% uplift on the average order value. So this is the metrics that we got for the past 30 days. We're also seeing like a 75% uplift in like chat conversion rate if we were to compare to human. AI got like much more data point, much more context to make sure that the recommendations are like as relevant as possible. And this is thanks to this context that we have like this high number about like 75% uplift and a 13x of ROI on the average that has been seen by a customer. All right, and there is one more thing. At Gorgias, we are super bullish about the two-way conversations. And we think that today's marketing automation playbook is kind of like stuck in the one-way model. So we are sending like email, SMS, and it's kind of like disconnected touch points. We don't really reply to those like marketing communications, and Shopper can feel that. So 75% of the customers expect like real-time responses from those different like interactions, and like 45% of customers ignore email marketing because they just like receive too many. This is all like the fatigue situations that we're trying to solve basically. And so that's why we are currently like building something fundamentally different, like with AI Journey, to basically like moving from like fragmented, programmatic, rigid systems to like some more real-time, two-ways AI-powered conversations. So instead of sending like one-way messages, and hoping that they will convert. We just want to basically like open the conversation with shoppers. They want to meet them like exactly where they are across chats, SMS, email, and dynamically adapting like all those conversations to them like in real time. So for merchants, it means like higher engagement rate, better conversations, and also like smarter marketing spends. And for shoppers, it means like personalized, instant, and frictionless experiences. Again, Gorgias is been like rooted into the two ways conversation, making sure that we can create like meaningful conversation. And it's probably time to basically bring this to the marketing and stop like broadcasting like messages, SMS, and emails in a wide-way conversation. So let's make the commerce as conversational as possible. Thank you so much. All right.
Hey everyone, my name is Jordan. I am in product marketing here at Gorgias. Thank you so much, Max and Roman, for sharing what is coming in terms of AI and AI shopping assistants. I want to spend a bit of time stepping away from AI and talking about some of the ways that Gorgias is helping your human team be more effective. Specifically, I'm going to talk about CX leaders being able to gather more insights and agents having more customer context to provide better solutions to customers. I want to make sure you can see my screen. I see a thumbs up. Wonderful. So like I said, I'm going to start by sharing some of the ways that Gorgias has recently made it easier to get more insights and make those insights easier to access. The first one is with dashboards. So if you've spent any time in Gorgias, you know that there are many statistics pages where you can access dozens and dozens of metrics and charts. However, we knew one pain was that switching between those pages to get everything you need to know was time consuming. It wasn't a very convenient process. So now CX managers, CX directors are able to cherry pick all of the different metrics and charts that matter to them and assemble them in one dashboard. For instance, you could have a QA dashboard of a certain team of agents. You could assemble all of the metrics that matter to you for a specific channel, like chat. You're also able to rearrange these. So for your weekly reporting, you can see the metrics that matter to you most at the top and do a deeper dive as you scroll down. So if you haven't yet, start building dashboards. It's available today. Next, I want to talk about conditional ticket fields. So if you're not using ticket fields today, I'll share a bit about what they are. Ticket fields are a bit like tags. They're easy ways for you to label conversations. So people use ticket fields to label a particular product, a particular contact reason, like, hey, this customer was reaching out to know the status of their order or requesting a return. And you as a brand are able to set up ticket fields to capture whatever data matters most to you. One thing in the past that we knew could be improved was that all of those ticket fields were displayed all of the time. So it created kind of a cluttered experience when agents were trying to select a ticket field for tickets. You could maybe have like 20 ticket fields showing and have to sort through and find the ones that are relevant to that ticket. With conditional ticket fields, you are now able to trigger certain ticket fields to show up once other ticket fields are set. I'll give you an example. If you want to track which of your warehouses are associated with shipping delays or something like that, when the first ticket field is set to shipping issue or shipping delay, then a secondary ticket field will show up asking the agent to input the warehouse. So conditional ticket fields, they're also available today. If you haven't checked them out, highly recommend doing so. And the last update I want to share is what we're calling Satisfaction 2.0. So Gorgias, for the past years, has allowed you to send CSAT surveys and understand the satisfaction of your customers. And we've revamped the entire report. So some of the improvements that we've made are not just giving you a CSAT score out of 5, but a percentage of how many of your customers are giving you a 4 or 5 CSAT score, which is an industry standard way of reporting on CSAT. We're also making it easier to track CSAT over time and pulling out comment highlights so you can get that direct voice of the customer to understand not just the number, but some of the texture of what your customers are saying. And the last update that comes with the Satisfaction Score 2.0 report is the ability to rescore CSAT surveys using the same link. So if a customer has a bad experience, gives you a 1-star review, the agent is able to rectify the situation, and then in the response say, hey, I think we made things right. If you agree, please rescore this experience using the same link and sending the link again. So if you're using CSAT surveys, you may have already found this new report, and if not, I recommend checking them out. Moving on from some of the updates to our insights and analytics, I want to talk about a couple of new updates to help your team get a better understanding of your customers to provide more personalized service faster. The first one is quite a few updates to the customer timeline. So when you are on a ticket, to the right in the customer sidebar, there is a blue button that says Open Timeline or Timeline, and that opens up this timeline where you can see all of the past interactions that you've had with this particular customer across all channels. It got a UI revamp, so now it's much easier to see at a glance some key information like, was this open, was this closed, what channel was this on? And you're able to apply filters and sort just to make this a bit easier to navigate. That is what is already released. I also want to highlight some upcoming updates. So in the next week or 2 weeks, I never want to promise a firm deadline, but keep an eye on your Gorgias account because it's coming soon. You're going to be able to open up any of these past interactions to a convenient panel. And at the top of that panel, it will show an AI-generated summary of that interaction. So if you're a CX manager, potentially doing QA of past interactions, if you are maybe a level 2 support agent, taking escalations from AI agent, or maybe your level 1 agents, you're able to get context quickly on what's happened in the past, which might be informing the current situation, the open inquiry with that customer. And the last thing that I want to share is a beta feature called Customer Fields. Again, this lives in the sidebar up toward the top. So when you see customer type, you are now able to add fields like selector fields. You can tag VIPs, problematic customers, customers that have high returns, or fraud customers. Right now, this feature is in beta, so labeling customers is the main thing that you can do. But we are really excited for all of the potential capabilities that this will unlock. So in Q3, in the next few months, we're going to make it so that you can create views, you can filter statistics, you can set rules using these customer fields. And then if you remember the experience of sending outbound messages to customers, these may play a role in segmentation, so you can really target the right customers with the right message. So try out customer fields today. You can get a head start labeling your customers, and in the next few months, really take it to the next level with additional capabilities in customer fields. And that is it for me. Diana, I'll pass it back to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So Roman, Max, I'm going to put us all on stage and open up the floor for Q&A. So if you have any questions, feel free to pop them into the chat. I'm going to kick us off. Max, a question for you. How is shopping assistant recommendations different than support agent?
I think support agent is not leveraging like this whole context that I was like describing. And so support context is basically, this is the message from the shopper. I'm looking at something specific and we do like a basic search. And this is pretty much like what Romain was like teasing about, like using or not using like the Shopify MCP. So we've built like a system that is definitely doing the extra miles to understand like in depth the shopper. And so compared to support, it's just like much more personalized, much more meaningful in the way it's recommending products. And also like you're gonna get like some control on how to recommend the products with guidances. And also we are also working on like some specific features that will be like released soon about like you can push for first like some high inventory, low inventory, high margin products. So it's just like from basic to like a very advanced mode in terms of like quality and control.
Awesome. Thank you. Another question that I saw, so we already use the PDP to recommend similar or complementary products. How would the recommendation be any different for AI agent?
Again, like it's pretty similar to the same answer. So like this whole context is making like the recommendation like much more tailored, much more like personalized for the shopper. So this is very different. It's leveraging like much more data points to make sure that the relevancy is like super high.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Roman, this is a question came in here from Antoine. I can get that one first. Is everything we saw today available already? Is it included in current AI pricing?
Yes. Do you want to take it, Max? or do you want me to?
I go ahead if you want, whatever.
Yeah, so everything that we showed in the demos is like definitely available to like customers on Shopping Assistant. Right now, we have this gated access to Shopping Assistant. So if you want to get access to it, we can share on the chat like what is the wait list, and we can let you in so that you can use that. In terms of pricing, we have two models for pricing. There's a pricing that's like Shopping Assistant specific, which is like roughly $1 per conversation, and so that's what gets you like all the selling capabilities. Some of you might be using like the AI agent tools on email, and that's like on the a different pricing model. So if you want to get into the Shopping Assistant side, that would be like migrating to the new pricing model here.
All right.
And thanks,
Next
Matilda,
question.
for sharing the link.
Yes. Next question. Do you have the best way to set up a CSAT for phone? For example, facilitate a post-call surveys to gather feedback and capture CSAT scores for phone interactions.
I can take this one. We don't have a great way to do that today. That's a good call out. That's something that we're going to work more towards. Like right now, we're working on like capturing better CSAT on chat, and then like we'll add other channels over time. So like fair point. We'll work towards this.
Yeah, I'll shout out that in general, in the next 6 months, year, phone is a big priority for us. So you can keep an eye out for lots of similar updates to phone.
Perfect. Thank you. And just to address a question earlier, this session is recorded and will be available after the event. So if there's any other questions, you can pop them in now. I did have one more. Roman, I think this is a question for you. So a lot of tools are developing AI. What's different about the way that Gorgias is building ours?
Yeah, for sure. So I think a couple of things. Like first off, our agent is built for ecom. So like a lot of what Max talked about, like on the discovery and selling side, are like things that we're very focused on. And then on the support side, like leveraging like tools that are like your warehouse management software, for example, or things like that we heavily invest on. So I would say like it's easy to set up for an ecom capability is like one of the key differences. And then I would say the other one is like it's very additive to what you're already doing on help desk. So like if you have help desk up and running, like it's easy to like take everything that you configured in the help center and in other places to like launch them there. So that's the other thing that's valuable.
Awesome. Thank you. I think that's all the questions I have for today. Oh, one more. Will we be able to have the chance to ask for detailed CSAT areas instead of a general overview of the customer experience?
Not today, and we don't have short-term plans to do that. There's like a bunch of apps that are in the Gorgias App Store that have like multiple steps to ask questions. So you can ask questions about the agent, about like the tone, about like the resolution that you got. So that would be like an addition to Gorgias itself. I think we might consider it down the line, but being completely transparent is not something we're going to ship in Q3.
Okay. What is the specific difference between feeding the product information to the current AI agent and the shopping assistance agent? Would you say the feature is more useful for shops with a lot of different products?
I can take this one. So basically, like we are looking at like different data points, actually like additional data points, and so we are scraping like all the website, the meta field, like all the product page information. So soon we'll be like looking at like even more data points, just like reviews and everything. So everything is kind of like automated. So it's not like involving any kind of like manual work. So basically, when you set up the shopping assistant for the first time, we are basically like launching like all those tasks on the side, and it doesn't change anything. So basically, like what you will be like only doing is like fine tuning the sales strategy, the sales persuasion, and probably like setting up some guidances if you feel that you need to fine tune the way like how AI agent is like performing and operating on the store.
Will we be able to see which surveys have been rescored in the stats pages in a future update?
Yeah, similarly, that's not currently possible. It's not in our roadmap for the next few months, but I'm jotting down all of the feedback about CSAT and we'll pass them on to the product manager. There are lots of great points.
Awesome. And thanks, Jordan, for sharing that, that page as well. Is it possible to give Gorgias additional data that's not visible on the website?
Totally. Yes, we can do this, and we encourage you to do this, especially if you have like high technical products. So we can import like many different sources. We can scrap different stores. We can also like import, yes, any pages or import like PDF documents, any kind of like materials that can be useful. If I can think about like some customers selling like some very like specific like sports gears that needs a lot of information, so we can like fetch all those information. So yeah. And transcript of like product demo, yeah, for sure. Like anything, yeah, that is text can be digested by the AI.
Awesome. Thank you. Any last questions, or we'll wrap up this part of the session. But thank you all so much for joining us today. And thank you, Jordan and Max and Roman, for your insightful presentations. Before we jump to the next replay of the keynote from OpenAI, I'm going to give everyone a 2-minute break, and then we'll join back in. But thank you, everyone. I will see you back here in 2 minutes.
Thanks, everyone. Good
Thank
to
you.
hang out together. I'm gonna see you in 2 minutes.
All right, we can get started now. This is the keynote presentation that we had from OpenAI's go-to-market leader, Tiana. So I will get that going now. And let me know if you can hear it okay on your end. Yeah, okay, let me check that out. Thank you for letting me know. See if this one works better.
My name's Tiana. I've been at OpenAI since 2023, and just super thrilled to be here and share my learnings with you all. So to start off, I want to share a little bit about OpenAI for those of you who don't know much about our company and our founding. OpenAI started a while ago in 2015 as a research lab. Our mission, to build safe AI and ensure AI's benefits are as widely and evenly distributed as possible. Everything I do, everything our team does every day is core to this mission. And we come back to it time and time again. One of the things I keep in mind every day is how this technology impacts the economies and businesses and folks that use it. And I would say it's something that's top of mind for all of us. Now, when we first started, a lot of the things you hear about in the news today around OpenAI, like access to capital or the ability to hire researchers, those were not the biggest problems that we faced. The biggest problem was actually skepticism around AI in general, particularly the type of AI, AGI, we had set out to build. Now, a lot of this traces back to the fact that although there's been a lot of recent frenzy around AI and tons of folks building with it, AI is not a new field. and OpenAI did not invent it. AI actually has been around since the 1950s, and there have been many, many advancements since then. Some of the more recent ones in the 2000s. So as you'll see here, in 2004, machine learning was born, and this allowed computers to learn from vast data sets and apply patterns forward. This eventually led to the mastery of computers being able to master games like chess and Go. In 2017, deep learning was born, and this transformer architecture is what enabled OpenAI to really found the generative AI field. Now, a question I get a lot is, what exactly is generative AI? And obviously, we've seen some demos today that kind of showcase what that is. But generative AI, in a nutshell, is essentially a type of AI that allows machines to learn from vast data sets, learn patterns, and then generate outputs that resemble human-made creations, like text, images, audio, and video. If you've ever used ChatGPT, this is likely sounding familiar. And this field today is rapidly accelerating. Every week, frankly, we're seeing new things ship. So although we are not responsible for the founding of AI, we are responsible for this generative AI field. And we consider ourselves to be on the path to achieving AGI, or artificial general intelligence. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in a bit, as far as what exactly that is, because that's another question I get a lot. But before that, would love to just give you a quick insight into our history. So 7 years into our existence, we had, as a company, explored all types of interesting AI projects, like seeing if AI could solve a Rubik's Cube with one hand, or beat some of the best gamers in the world. And although those projects were extremely interesting for our research team, it was a little unclear as to how these would actually translate to the real world and help solve real world problems. So in 2022, one of those projects that our team was working on was a chatbot called ChatGPT. And just for some fun, this is the Slack message that was shared out the morning of our team's quote unquote silent launch, which didn't stay silent for very long, as I'm sure many of you know. And over the next couple of weeks, it became clear that something really significant had happened and had changed. Not only were people starting to use this technology, but the world had kind of noticed and discovered what generative AI was and started to think through some of the possibilities of this technology. Fast forward to today, and we're super proud to say it's one of the fastest growing products of all time. Now, this is all super interesting, but a question I also get a lot is, AI is great, and I love hearing about large language models, but what truly is an LLM? And I was talking to Chris about this earlier. Oftentimes, some people just, we jump right into learning about agents and all the really interesting things they're doing, or we're just like too scared to ask. So I'm going to be that person to help and answer that for you all. Now, you probably weren't expecting this. This obviously is not a large language model. This is a cat. Stay with me. More accurately, it's a house cat, which is one of the only domesticated species of the feline family. I'm sure many people here have them. They're cute, they're smart, frankly can be mean. I'm more of a dog person myself. But to an LLM, it's actually not a cat. It's simply a concept that exists in the world. And to an LLM, without any other context, this does not mean anything else. Each concept in an LLM is represented by a token, as you see here. And each token then connects to other tokens. For example, these are all concepts that I think we can all agree relate to a cat. They can be house pets, they purr, they pounce, they scratch themselves. And we know about these relationships because of our shared writings and culture. These relationships come up time and time again in books, in movies, on the internet. What an LLM does is it takes these relationships and all of this data, and it assigns a weight to the relationships. It compresses this information, and it essentially says where are the strongest/weakest relationships between each of these concepts and tokens. That numerical weight is then assigned and extrapolated out over billions or frankly hundreds of billions of tokens. And this correlation is essentially determined based off of how often these concepts are linked or come up together time and time again. So when you hear someone say that they are training a model, OpenAI or otherwise, what we're essentially doing is compressing huge chunks of data on the internet to determine what these weights and correlations are. Probably not a surprise, the correlation between a dog and cat is going to be one of the stronger ones, right? Dogs and cats are brought up together time and time again in movies and books and plays, right? There's many instances of this in our shared learnings and culture. Cats and monkeys, on the other hand, that relationship might exist, but it comes up far less often than the one between a dog and a cat. So because of that, that correlation here is going to be significantly smaller than the one between cats and dogs. Now, when you extrapolate this out over billions or hundreds of billions of tokens, you start to get a neural network, or you do get a neural network. And that's exactly what an LLM is. It's a neural network. And so when you run this, what you're essentially doing is you're putting various inputs. So in this case, cat met A. And all we are doing is asking the model to predict what the outcome is. So in this case, with this initial query, it's going to guess that the output is dog, right? Far more likely than the output becoming monkey. Now, this is fully self-contained, does not need a connection to the internet. You simply input a query, and it tells us an output. Now, to many of you, especially myself at first, when I was first learning this, it might seem quite simple, right? And again, similar to our Rubik's Cube example, maybe not so clear how this could be useful in the real world. But again, when we extrapolate this out over hundreds of billions of examples, we get a model that starts to show signs of reasoning and intelligence. So, for example, if we take this same model that's been trained on all of these concepts, all the animals included, and we were to give it kind of the plot of a murder mystery story, all of the actors, the background, the series of events, and ask it who the murderer might be, it would come up with the most probable answer despite never having been trained on that specific story itself. LLMs are great at a lot of different things. Again, we've seen multiple examples already today in the last hour of where they are good and provide great feedback, especially when you layer tools on top. But they're not perfect at everything. And I think as humans, as we're all in one room, right, making these connections and getting to know one another, I think it's important to keep top of mind like where they're not quite perfect today. And one of the things that you might have heard about a lot is a hallucination, which is kind of a funny term for us to assign to something in the AI world. But essentially, what a hallucination is when a model outputs a false answer. Now, hallucinations happen for a number of different reasons. One reason could be a limitation in that training data. So all of those hundreds of billions of examples that we have, if that data is only through a certain date, for instance, so say we trained this model, but we trained this model and the knowledge date was June of last year, right? That's when we finished training, and that was a subset of information we had. If I today were just to straight ask that model who the current president of the United States was, it would likely say Joe Biden, because he was the president at the time. The other reason why this might happen is because LLMs don't simply know facts. They don't inherently know, right? As we saw in the cat meta dog example, LLMs simply are predicting the next token. So if we have training data that isn't strong, if we have training data that's out of date, it might not be smart enough to predict that next token. This is where tools that we layer on top of LLMs really come into play and why they're so important. So in our president example, if I were to take that same model and I gave it the ability to search the web, it would then search the web to pull the most up-to-date presidential information and give me the right answer. Okay, so I'd love to share, based off of that, some other examples of where AI is in the world today. We are seeing transformation with AI across truly every industry imaginable, and I want to talk to you today about 3. The first is in healthcare. Lung cancer is one of the deadliest cancers in the world. It's relatively common and unfortunately relatively difficult to treat. In early stages, if it's caught early, the 5-year survival rate is 70%. If detected in later stages, that same survival rate unfortunately drops to 10%. Researchers at MIT have developed an AI model to detect future lung cancer risk. They trained this model on CT scans taken from both male and female smokers, and were able to come up with a model that could detect not only which of those individuals would eventually develop cancer, but which lung would specifically develop cancer. So this is just one of many LLMs in healthcare. Healthcare is a field I'm personally extremely passionate about. It was one of the reasons why I decided to join OpenAI, to kind of bring this impact and improve the kind of human experience for everyone. It's enabling earlier disease detection, personalized treatments, faster drug discovery, and of course, improving patient outcomes and operational efficiency for those who work in it. It's super exciting. I realize there's a lot of animals in my presentation. I am an animal lover. But this, I've never met one of these. This is a Jeffrey's spider monkey. They are found mostly in Costa Rica, and they're an endangered species. A group of biologists went ahead and put 350 audio monitors in this rainforest to essentially spy on them and detect their movements, how many there were, and try to figure out the general health of this population. They collected so much audio data over the course of a week that it would have taken likely years to sort through. What they did instead was they filtered this audio data through an AI system that was specifically trained on spider monkey calls. And what they were able to determine very, very quickly, in a matter of days instead of years, was that this spider monkey population was in pretty critical condition and in need of human intervention to survive. So they were able to jump in that and make that impact quite quickly. What we're now seeing is multiple other groups are taking the same technology, they're optimizing it, and they're replicating it for other endangered species around the world. Thirdly, we are, of course, seeing AI's impact in the enterprise. And what better example, obviously, than to mention all of the powerful things that Gorgias is doing today. We at OpenAI see Gorgias as one of our flagship digitally native customers. They are a standout example of what it means to move quickly and qualitatively with AI while ensuring things are safe and staying within certain guardrails. They started partnering with us in early 2024, so it's been over a year long, and it's been a really amazing relationship to date. And I think one thing I personally have been very impressed by in seeing their kind of evolution in partnership with OpenAI is just how quickly they're adapting new models and new technology to bring that impact to their customers, and then, of course, eventually to your customers as well. I think one example of how customer-centric they are is we had a very, very close sprint with them late last year, or really in the fall of last year, to prepare for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and ensure that there were no disruptions and they and you all could create the best experience given the uplift in traffic that you all were expecting. So with that, very excited to bring my partner in crime, Victor, up on stage to talk a little bit more about what you all have built. I can go through.
Thank you, Tiana.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Victor. I'm working in engineering here at Gorgias, and I work specifically on everything AI agents. And today, I want to tell you about what we do with OpenAI and how we take what OpenAI builds and make it into what we deliver to you. Because you might be wondering, why do we even need Gorgias? Like, those models are awesome. They're curing cancer. They're detecting cats and dogs. So why do we even need Gorgias? Well, the thing is that those models are generic, meaning that you can think of them as interns, basically the smartest intern that you've ever met. They know everything that was ever written in the world. They are super smart, super clever, but they don't know anything about you. They don't know anything about how you sell to your customers. They don't know your customers. They don't know your products or your inventory. And that's where Gorgias comes in. At Gorgias, we've been taking those models and giving them support skills, sales skills, and the ability to coordinate between those two skills to create a conversation with your shoppers. And that's very important because we saw in the market that a lot of products were really good at support, really good at sales, but not a lot of them were really good at having a straight conversation with a fluent conversation with shoppers, mixing in support and sales at the same time. So that's what we did. And I don't have the clicker.
Yeah,
you have the clicker. Cool.
True partnership.
And the way we do this, we do this in two main ways. And the first one is prompt engineering. Prompt engineering is the ability to do continuous model improvement based on feedback. So first, we get a lot of feedback. We get feedback from you, obviously. We get feedback from shoppers. And also internally, we get a lot of feedback. We have a full team dedicated to do prompt engineering. And what they do is that they look at tickets, they look at behaviors from the models, and they determine what are the behaviors that are working well and the behaviors that are not working well. From this feedback, they decide what they want to improve. So that's what we say when we say that we taught them how to do sales or how to do support. We decide we want to tell them, okay, how to handle a return request, for instance. And based on this use case that we want to solve, like return, we decide on a set of instructions that we're going to give the model to explain how to do a return request. Sorry. And then it's a lot of testing. First, offline testing, where we take the set of instructions that we give to the model and we test it on thousands of tickets. I'm saying multiple thousands of tickets. We analyze the results. We decide if the instructions are good or not. If not, we iterate. And if they're good, we do A/B testing. So we do continuously A/B testing live on tickets, and we analyze the quality of the results. That's super important for us. It allows us to know whether instructions are good enough to be put in production and delivered to you. And we do this cycle over and over again on each use case that we want to tackle to teach the new skills to the model. Please, next. And that's not all, because you can have the right behavior, but by default, and I think Tiana talked about this a bit, models are only text and images. Now they can do voice, but they don't know how to interact with the real world. And the real world of e-commerce is where Gorgias is really good. For the last 10 years, we've been building an e-commerce platform, integrating with apps, integrating with your website, integrating with your Help Center, hosting your Help Center. So we have all that data. We have all of your previous conversations with shoppers, and we can use this securely, privately, only for you. That's very important for us. We have a contract with OpenAI, actually. They're not allowed to use the data that we send to train the models. They're not even allowed to store it. But we are allowed to provide it to the model so it can use it in its prediction. So that's for the data. And then we have the e-commerce specialization to teach the model how to interact with the e-commerce world. We built actions. Romain did a demo on the shipping address. We built a way to interact with shoppers. Max did the demo to show that when a shopper is doing a search, we're able to pop up at the right time and present with an opportunity. And we also have built a huge recommending engine. And those things allow models to actually interact with the real world. We took all of this and we made it available to the Gorgias channels, right now chat and email, and soon socials and SMS. That's how we took Gorgias OpenAI models and made them into e-commerce agents.
Thank you. Great. So we're going to keep Victor up on stage here because I'm going to use him to show you a demo in a bit. But of course, e-commerce is why we're here. And thank you so much, Victor, for kind of giving us that background as far as how you all have worked with our models. I'd love to spend a bit of time speaking specifically about what is relevant for you all and D2C brands as we look to the rest of this year and what's coming. Now, there are two ways that I would like you all to think about using AI and improving your AI literacy in general. The first of which is by using a chatbot like ChatGPT to improve your own productivity and your employee productivity, both in your personal life and in business. The great thing about something like ChatGPT, right, is it's out of the box. You don't need to be technical to use it. You can be any age, any technical literacy, and also use any language and get jump-started right away. The second way is by infusing AI into your products. So building custom on AI models via the API. Again, what Victor kind of explained there. Now, what I love about what Gorgias has built is that it sits at the intersection of these two AI literacy goals, right? It's out of the box. You do not need to be technical to implement Gorgias into your customer experience, but it's custom, like what Victor mentioned. It's custom for the e-commerce experience. You all can then further customize it for your customers, and you're also bringing that AI impact not only for yourself and your businesses, but for the consumers that are purchasing through you all. Now, I want to talk about 4 other kind of like specific areas where I have seen, and we as a company have seen, other D2C brands really utilizing AI. The first of which is marketing co-pilots. Probably not a surprise here, but we are seeing brands using both image generation and data analysis capabilities inside generative AI chatbots like ChatGPT to upload vast amounts of customer data and purchase data by region and ask it to essentially come up with marketing campaigns, whether it's brainstorming or full life cycle campaigns for specific regions. These campaigns can include both text and images as we look at multimodality, and this is saving marketing teams a lot of time and resources. The second is autonomous store management. So we are seeing brands both using AI to manage their inventory for both brick and mortar and online stores. And we're seeing, again, a ton of advancement and time savings here, as well as just like ensuring that things are accurate so that they can update their relevant inventory online immediately, right? If there's a shortage, or order more product if needed. The third is dynamic pricing strategies, which given today's environment is probably even more relevant than it was when I put this slide together for you all. So adapting to market conditions, competitor activity, these are all things, of course, that are top of mind for you all. We are seeing companies that are implementing these strategies see profitability increases of up to 22%. So it's extremely impactful, and again, something that you can do relatively quickly and easily with AI. This example is a little harder. So I think Lowe's is a great example, and this is a public example that we've kind of showcased as a company, so I can share it with you all. But what they've done is they have essentially fine-tuned one of our models, essentially like gave this model additional preference information, kind of similar to the example Mia was sharing, right? Sharing more information and background as far as how you want to train the AI shopping assistant. Lowe's has thousands of products, both in-store and online. And what they were struggling with is that when people went to their website to search for a product, they oftentimes weren't finding products that fit what they were looking for. They had a mismatch in what was in a product image to what was in that product title and description. So they fine-tuned one of our models to improve that search experience and improve the titles and the descriptions of the products on their website. And what resulted was a much higher search to checkout experience on their website. They saw revenue lifts. They saw just actually overall people were doing more shopping on Lowes.com. I was fortunate enough to get to work with this team. They're very tech savvy. It was quite a big team who did this. And so as you can imagine, there's a ton of engineering resources that go into doing something like this. And it's quite expensive. Of course, coming back to Gorgias, because how could we not in this case? What's so amazing is Gorgias has essentially built this functionality for you all, right? Their very advanced engineering team has taken the time and resources to really dive in, spend a ton of time, and bring forth the product and an experience where you all can have access to the same type of capability out of the box. It's just so exciting for me to see of course, once we get to see individual brands doing this for themselves, but then to see the reach of kind of disseminating this type of technology for everyone, like what Gorgias is doing. I think it's such a stellar example and really amazing to see. Okay, want to talk to you a little bit about where AI is headed. So AI has come a really, really long way from a couple years ago, from 2015 when OpenAI was just started. But there's still a lot of limitations to AI today, outside of the hallucinations that we talked about. For instance, ChatGPT, if we look at it as a product, it won't continuously learn and improve. It can't go out and discover a new piece of science and update its own understanding. It can't yet take a task that you give it, click around in a browser for you, call someone, and then complete it. That is what we as a company see as AGI and where the world is headed. We've heard a lot about agents today, and I think the word agent has become quite the buzzword in Silicon Valley as well. It's really is going to be the year of agents. That's what we see here at OpenAI. And I think it's important to really define what exactly an agent is. Again, we've seen some amazing demos today of agents in action, but this is how we as a company are defining it. So an agent is a system that can essentially handle an entire workflow on your behalf. Now, how does it do that? It takes a base model, one of those models that we've trained. It then is given a workflow, essentially a set of instructions for what it should follow. We then give it access to tools, like the ability to search the web or go pull external information. And then, maybe even most importantly, we'll put guardrails in place to ensure that it's always doing the right thing and escalating to a human if and when needed. I'd love to paint a quick picture about where we see agents headed. Ideally, we have a number of parents in the room. Do we have folks that have kids here? Yeah? Okay, great. So my son is 8 months old. He's the center of my world. It's been an extremely fun experience. But what I recently learned was that I should have been on the list for preschools when I was pregnant. And no one tells you that. And so, yeah, I recently discovered this, and I'm in very big trouble because I have not started this. So what I did was I went to ChatGPT and I said, hey, ChatGPT, I live in San Francisco, gave him my son's age, and I said, I'm looking for a preschool. Can you please tell me what are the things I should consider? Can you give me some recommendations? Like, where do I even start looking? So I input this information, and today it actually does a really good job. Gave me a list of criteria to think about, like Montessori, play-based, what's your price range, what languages do you want spoken in school? And it was helpful information. But imagine a world in which it first does that, and then it asks me, what are your preferences based off of all these criteria? And I go in and I put, I want Spanish speaking because my husband's from Chile. I want a small classroom size. Price, I can't even think about that right now. It's so expensive, but I give it a few options. And then it says, okay, great. Imagine it would then come back and say, these are the 5 schools that are within driving distance of where you live that meet the criteria that you're looking for. It would give me a brief, an overview as to each school, why it thinks these are good options for myself and my family. And then imagine I give it the green light and I say, okay, yep, approved. And then imagine it goes and it actually calls those schools. It cross-references my calendar with my husband's calendar to ensure that we're free, and it schedules tours for us. We then go to those tours, and in the car ride home, I pull out my cell phone and I record an audio note where I essentially give it feedback and I say, hey, this went well, I liked this, I didn't like that. Then takes all those audio notes and it comes up with a recommendation for the top 3 it thinks that we should apply to. And then it fills out the forms for the applications, all of that rudimentary information that we have to repeat so often, like our address and social security numbers and stuff like that. I actually don't even know if you need a social security number to apply to a school. Someone can tell me after what I need to put in. And then it would prompt me for more information, right, where I needed to kind of provide more of a description as to why I wanted to apply to those schools. That is the type of agent experience that we see is coming. The technology is not quite there yet, but it's surprisingly close. So each of those different pieces is actually possible today, but now it's a question of how can we bring these things all together and have that be a really comprehensive, easy, seamless experience for everyone. So related to that, there are two things that we see coming this year. More than two things, but these are the two things I'm going to share with you. So the first is reasoning capabilities, and the second is native multimodality. So reasoning for humans is when we think through multiple steps before we answer. It's essentially using type 2 thinking instead of type 1 thinking. Type 1 thinking is when we give kind of an obvious gut reaction to something. Studies have shown that the majority of us use type 1 thinking when we're asked a political opinion. We have a preformed notion of what our beliefs are, and when asked something, we give our gut reaction. Type 2 thinking is when we have to think through multiple steps before we answer. This is usually activated if we're writing a paper or doing some type of deeper analysis. And that is where we see models getting much better at and much smarter with, is with those abilities to reason. Now, reasoning models, if you've ever played around with one, they're a bit slower than typical kind of mainline models. And this is because they're thinking through those multiple steps. But what results is a better answer. So for our healthcare use cases, like diagnosing diseases, for really complex support ticket use cases, right? These are going to be extremely useful and are just going to get that much smarter with the more training that's being done. The second is native multimodality. So this is where single models can hear, speak, listen, and bringing all of those different ways of communicating as humans under the roof as one model. Today, you have to do this through several different tools and capabilities patched together. And I'm very excited to get to show you a sneak peek into kind of what's coming and where we see this modality going, going forward. So, okay, great. Just so happens that this demo gets to be Paris and France related, which I was really excited about. Unintended. So what we're going to show you here is we have a script, essentially. This prompt was input to OpenAI's Sora model, which hopefully some of you have had a chance to see this. It's our video generation model. This is the only part of the demo, admittedly, that's not live, because generating a video, an AI-generated video, takes some time and it would be super boring. You all would be sitting here for quite some time. But we asked our model to come up with a video that demonstrates these street scenes from Paris in the 1800s, or 1889, excuse me. So I'm going to click this button. So this video is fully AI generated, which I think is really amazing. I think it's cool to play with timing with AI generated images too, because it gives you a sense of like what the world could have looked like at a time where none of us were alive. The audio, full disclosure, is patched over. So this is not automatically generated, but we're going to get to a point where audio can be automatically generated in conjunction with video. But for the purposes of this demo, the audio was created separately and ported over. So from this point forward, I promise everything is live. So what are we doing here is we're going to extract, or the model will now extract individual frames from this video to essentially create a storyboard. Again, this is doing it completely on its own. It picked these individual images, and we can ask it to analyze and narrate exactly what's happening in this video. So the model actually doesn't have that written context from before. It just has these frames. So it's using vision capabilities, the ability for the model itself to see. And we're saying, hey, come up with a script that describes exactly what's happening in this video, right? So if we were to narrate, for instance, like a nature documentary or something, this could do it for you. Okay, excellent. So here it's given us a little script. It's relatively short. And in this case, I'm going to say, okay, great, we have this script, but I actually want someone to narrate it. And I've chosen Victor to narrate it. So thank you so much for going along with this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask Victor to simply speak for 15 seconds. And with that 15-second voice clip, this model will create essentially a custom model of Victor's voice and be able to use his voice specifically to narrate over any version of text. Which is a really exciting capability. Of course, this could be used for good and for bad, hence the security reasons of this staying on my computer for right now. Now I'm going to ask Victor to just speak about absolutely anything in the world into the computer mic, but I'll have his mic here too.
Okay. Well, I guess if we're talking about Paris, I should let you into a little secret. I'm actually French. And I lived in Paris for 10 years, so I can tell you the video is great. It actually looks like that. The Eiffel Tower is not so close to where it's shown in the video, but it's actually pretty good.
Great. Okay, sweet. So the model just listened, right, to Victor speaking, took in that audio, and now we're going to, and as you can see, it's going to happen relatively quickly, but we're going to ask it to take his voice and use our audio capabilities to generate this custom voice that's exclusively Victor's to apply to that narration that was also AI generated. I'll let this run through. See, people are nervous.
In the vibrant streets of Paris during the 1889 Exposition Universelle, elegantly dressed men and women stroll amidst a backdrop of grand architecture. The scene is alive with the bustling energy of the World Fair, capturing the essence of 19th century glamour. The newly constructed Eiffel Tower rises majestically, its iron lattice looming over the Expo grounds, symbolizing innovation and modernity. The Expo buildings adorn.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah, well, French would be too obvious. Then you all would think it's pre-recorded. Okay, bummer. So it just cut it off. So this is how you can tell it's truly live. But it can switch back and forth actually between all of these different languages and then have that same voice. Like I've heard myself speaking in Mandarin before, and it's a very uncanny experience. So you can go back and forth and switch between all of these. And of course, where we see this applying, there's multiple applications for this, I think, but for the purpose of you all, right? Imagine you have a customer service agent or a sales agent that sounds exactly like your CEO, and they're speaking in multiple languages to people all around the world who are trying to buy your products. The storyboarding and the analyzing behind the scenes can also be applied to product images. The applications here for enterprise users and others in the world are just endless. And I'm super glad I was able to kind of share this sneak peek with you all as far as what's coming. We're really excited for the rest of this year. I think we're over time, so I'm gonna go. But thank you all, and thank you to the Gorgias team for having me.
All right. Thank you all for sticking with us a few extra minutes with my tech challenges, but I really appreciate everyone for joining us today. As I mentioned, a recording of today's session will be available on YouTube in following days. Again, the Shopping Assistant early access is available in the chat. I can reshare it again if you are interested. Again, thank you all so much for joining us, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.